Welcome to Palestine Museum US. I'd like to welcome our viewers in the United States, on Facebook, in Palestine and around the world. We apologize for some of the initial technical difficulties we've had in starting late. We will be underway shortly. At this point, I'd like to introduce members of the museum staff. Mervat Siwada is Director of Communications. Nancy Nesbitt is the Head Curator. Today we're fortunate to have three Palestinian artists joining us, and I'd like to start by introducing them. Rania Matar, she is a photographer and is based in Boston, Massachusetts in the United States. We have Sana Farah Bshara. She is a sculptor, and she is based in Haifa, Palestine. And finally, Raida Shaheen. She is an artist based in Amman, Jordan. At this point, I would like to turn control over to Nancy Nesbitt. Nancy, please proceed to moderate the session.
Thanks so much, and thanks for joining us for the fourth iteration of the series. We're doing artist talks, as you know, from the Palestine Museum US in Connecticut, as well as all the artist studios around the world. In this episode, Boston, Haifa, and Jordan, Amman. I do want to say that as we're relegated to our own homes and studio homes, we all seem to inhabit similar spaces, very small ones generally. Artist studios in Jordan and Boston are not that different. And our similar environment leads to a camaraderie, I feel, with artists around the world. Please keep this friendship in mind as you look at the different practices of these artists and consider how they're coping with the situation, just like you are. With that, we'd like to welcome first Rania, who will speak about her work.
I just want to say hi to everyone and thank you so much for having me for this. And thank you, Faisal, for including my work at the museum. It's in this important exhibition. I'm originally, I'm based in Boston. I was born and raised in Lebanon. My father was from Jaffa and my mother from Jerusalem. But I grew up in Lebanon. I came to the United States in 1984 when the civil war in Lebanon became pretty bad, and I studied architecture originally. I became a photographer after September 11, I want to say. I was originally taking mainly pictures of my children, and then I got into a point where I became interested in telling a different story from the Middle East, especially when all the rhetoric was very much the them versus us rhetoric on the news. So the first work I used to do was actually photographing my kids, and that was important work for me because it taught me to get to a very intimate level with my with the people I was photographing, and I got to understand quickly how just the mundane moments of daily life were so important to document. So originally my first project was I went to a Palestinian refugee camp. I went to different Palestinian refugee camps and photographed there. In 2002, I went with my cousin to Sabra and Shatila. It was the 20th anniversary of the massacres. And, you know, because I grew up in the Civil War, my circle was very small. So I didn't know that people lived in those conditions so close to the cosmopolitan Beirut that I grew up in. And I became interested in telling their stories. So over the years, I went back and eventually got to a point where I got to the point where I got to meet some families and got to build relationships with them. So I made different projects over the years, but I'm waiting for this. But yeah, I made different projects, but there was a consistent in my relationship to one family that I got very attached to actually in Burj Lubrajne in the outskirts of Beirut. And this is Samira, a young woman I became pretty close with. And this is a relatively new image. I was just starting for that. But I started photographing her family in 2005. If we could go to the next slide, please. So this is Samira in the middle. And my early work that I did was more black and white and more documentary, where I was photographing people's lives. And eventually, and this is how I met her. And eventually, if we could go to the next, she was, sorry, I'm backing off a little bit. She was 5 years old in that photo, and she's the one in the middle. And she was only veiled to play. As you could see, her arms are not covered and her legs are not covered. This was just play at that point. And this is her mom offered me the tea. There was such a hospitality that was in all the families I met in the camps. Even though they had nothing, they were always inviting me in and treating me like family. If we could go to the next slide. This was in 2000, I believe, in 8. So here Samira was 9 years old, and she's the one in the foreground. This is her sister in the background, and this is in one of the, this is in like a little, right outside their house. This is where they spend most of their time in the camp. Eventually, I moved into different projects where I photographed, I started photographing young women and girls, both in the United States where I live, in Lebanon, and in the refugee camps, and in Palestine. For me, this became at that point more about focusing on the universality of what it means to be a girl becoming a woman. And the work eventually grew away from just focusing on Lebanon and on the refugee camps, but again, on focusing on what it means to be a girl and about girlhood and growing up. So this eventually became part of another book and another project that I titled L'Enfant Femme. But regardless, Samira was a consistent in my work. So in the previous picture, she was 12. Here she's 13. And then if we move one more, and this year she's 17. And then, so again, I kind of followed her over the years. And if we go one more, sorry. And here she was 19. So this was just a couple of years ago. And again, most of these images were always in that same area where she lives in the refugee camp. Can we go further one more, please? Then I started a project about mothers and daughters. When my own daughter left for college, all the work actually has been following my own children, my own daughters as they get older. And I end up photographing girls and women in the same ages. So when my daughter left for college, I became interested in photographing mothers and daughters. This is Samira with her sister. And eventually I started another project that I received the Guggenheim Fellowship for, where I started focusing more on physicality, on young women and the relationship to their backgrounds, and I focused on hair and as well on what does it mean to have this headscarf. And here, this is Samira with her sister, Sarah. And there's that whole intertwine of the sisterhood at the same time of the whole sense of head covering. This is such an obsession in the West about head covering, but really it's very much in the Middle East, at least in Lebanon, a matter of choice. So her sister does not wear the hijab and Samira does. And this is Samira and Sarah. If you could go further one more. Then last year, Samira asked me if we could make pictures outside the refugee camp. So that was the first time I went, picked her up, and we left the refugee camp. And I actually adored that photograph because for me, it's just like looking at her just as a young woman having fun. And then there's a sense of her enjoying every moment of that, where she actually left the refugee camp. So if we go one more, please. Oh, sorry, there was a little video of Samira. Maybe it didn't, maybe we'll see it at the end. I'm not sure where it is. It's okay, it's okay. There's a little video of Samira where she says hello to everybody. I wanted her to come live, but she was a little shy. And so she sent us a video instead of herself saying hi to all of you. And if it doesn't work out, it's no problem. We could get it at the end.
I love you.
Okay, so this is Samira. I mean, this whole sense of being interconnected, almost makes me want to cry. I mean, all of us are connecting via Zoom right now, but here she is. She's in a Palestinian refugee camp in Beirut, and she's connected with us. So that was, and the images in the if you could go back to the slideshow, the images in the museum are the images of Samira, basically, one of the beach and one with her mother, which are images that mean a lot to me. Now, this is work that's very different than all my other work. All my work over the years have been really very personal and is about a search for identity, my own identity, my daughter's identity, but being between two cultures. So I always photographed following my own life. It was almost autobiographical. And now that we're all confined to our homes, after I spent the first 2 weeks literally organizing my studio and all of that, I realized that I love working with people. And what is personal to me now and is the sense of confinement. So I started reaching out to people and photographing them through their windows. So this is work that's very much in progress right now. And I just thought I would send a few slides because it was a way of responding to the whole sense of isolation and call it physical separation, but not a social separation. So if I thought maybe you could go through some of those. So all I did is I actually put I put an image on Instagram and asked for people if they're interested. And I got such an immense response that I had to make an Excel sheet and start trying to schedule around that. And it made me realize first two things, that this whole confinement forced us to slow down a little bit and people have time, but also I think it's making us all kinder people, and everybody was so willing to step up and help, which is overwhelmingly touching for me. So maybe we could show a couple of those. And there's this whole sense of photographing through the glass that's with all the reflection that blurs that sense of what's inside and outside. And can we, and one more? Okay, so I'm going to end with that and pass it on to the next person.
I do want to say that when all the artists have finished speaking, that we will hear at that point from Mirvat Sawada with some questions, and then we'll take questions from our Facebook audience. I also want to remind you that we will be on Facebook as well as the 3 preceding artist talks of the last 3 weeks. So please pass the word that we're on Facebook at Palestine Museum US. So at this point, I'd like to introduce Raida, who's the next artist who will speak.
Hello, everybody. My name is Raida Shaheen. I'm actually, I majored in psychology. I'm a psychologist and let me say an educationist and an artist. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. I lived in Jordan most of my life. I come from my father and mother are Jordanians from Palestinian origins. They actually left Palestine in the period of the Nakba. So I come from both mother and father that are Palestinians. And I grew up in a house that talked a lot about Palestine, and we always had discussions about the right to return, and we always grew up hearing stories from my grandparents about the land we left behind and the farms we had behind and the beautiful life they lived. So I think that left a very big impact on me. After getting married, I moved to Nigeria for 25 years, where I am actually an educationist and I run a school. And this made me a little bit distant from the passion and the love of my life, which is art. But then after leaving Nigeria and coming back to Jordan, I came back to do what I have always loved and wanted. I actually established a gallery in Jordan called Jodar Artistry, Jo for Jordan and Dar, which means the house that nests everything. So it's mainly a home for art lovers from all walks of life. My target was to host and having Jodar become a cradle for emerging artists in the country. We encourage them and support them, and we find a lot of joy when we discover their talents and bring them up to be seen by the world. I think that is it about me. I would like to thank Faisal and the people working with him on this beautiful idea. I mean, it is a pride, and we are all proud to say that we have a hosting body, a hosting umbrella that can host Palestinians from all over the world, to say, like, we can show our work to the world. We have artists, we have talents from where we come. So thank you, Faisal, for that. Most of my work is circled around women because I believe the woman is the backbone of the society. All over the world, the woman is always being looked at as the weaker person in the society, but I think she is the backbone of the society. She is the mother. She takes care of the kids. She works outside. She is everything. So I am so much attached to the woman's story, and I believe that art is a great way to empower women. It makes them bring out their talent. It gives them power. It shows what they are. It gives them a way to express themselves, and it allows them to be heard. I also believe that we are in an era where art should be used as a means of a changing tool, an informative tool to tell the world what is happening. Like, I see myself connected to all of you. The little girl you showed in the camp in Palestine, Mervet, I think is actually came from somewhere in Palestine where she had left maybe her beautiful home or her farm, and she has to live in a camp. So we are all connected. We're all together to show and tell the world a story. Yes, this is a painting of the Palestinian thobe, and I think it is something we all should have pride in and show the world, because I think fashion started in Palestine long ago, before even the big houses of fashion all around the world. Every Palestinian village has its own identity with the print and the color and design. So a woman walking in Palestine, you can tell from which country, from which village she is, and if she is married or she is widowed. And I was talking to a friend, and she told me how the embroidery changed after the Nakba. The refugee women would sit in the camps, and while embroidering, they start copying from each other. So the woman from Gaza takes the stitches of the woman from Jaffa and the woman from Jerusalem, and she comes up with a new thobe. So there is actually a new thobe, or a new fashion after the Nakba. It shows here the red poppies, which are very, very, very well known in our area, in Palestine, and all the Middle East, actually. Again, women, they lean on each other, they help each other, they assist each other, they support each other. Yes, this is a very dear photo to my heart. It reminds me of my grandmother. She had to flee Palestine after the Nakba. And this is actually one of her original thobes, which I'm proud to say I have today. And if you can see her standing, her head is very high. If you can see the dome of the Jerusalem, of the Al-Aqsa Mosque. So and her legs are so long and rooted to the ground. So she's standing up high and her legs are rooted to the ground. She's trying to tell a story. We're all trying to tell a story. Yeah, this is the return. There will always be a return. And they're all going back, and there will be a return one day. the oranges in Haifa, Jaffa. Again, you see the two women behind, because women, they cut the oranges, they pick it up in the harvest season, and they support their families. Yeah. Yeah, Faisal, I just wanted to tell you that, again, to add to what I started, that we as Palestinians are very proud of not only the artists that came after the Nakba and that had the opportunity to live abroad and get educated. We have a very big history of Palestinian artists, poets, writers, everything in Palestine that were even before the Nakba. I wouldn't like to mention any names now because I wouldn't want to leave one or some names out, but we are so proud of the Palestinian Museum, and we hope one day we have a Palestinian museum in every country in the world to tell the world our story. Thank you so much for your beautiful effort.
Thank you, Raida. Nancy?
Yeah, thank you again. That was beautiful and enlightening. Now we're on to Sana, who is a sculptor. Go ahead, Sana.
Hi. Okay. First of all, I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk about my art and to display in the Palestinian Museum. I want to thank Faisal, great work you do. And I will speak in Arabic and Faisal will translate, so it's into لغة يعني. Okay. بدي أحكي علاقتي أنا خلقت بالناصري.
I was born in Nazareth.
وأجدادي أصلهم من أول رئيس بلدية كان هو جدي طنوس قعوار.
My grandparents were from the Nazareth municipal head of the municipality in Nazareth in Dar Kawar.
اوكي تعلمت خلصت بالناصري وبعدين الاكاديمي تعلمت بحيفا.
I finished my secondary school in Nazareth and I then moved to continue my education and live in Haifa.
اتزوجت وعندي عائلة بحيفا وأنا بين حيفا والناصري وتعلمت هناك الألقاب تبعوني.
Okay, and I went back and forth between Nazareth and Haifa, and in Haifa I gained my academic titles.
أول صورة بدي أخصصها، أول تمثال بدي أخصصه للناصري اللي هو فيه هذا اللي فيه رمز العين العذراء اللي هي كل سايح بيجي على الناصري بيجي أول إشي على عين العذراء اللي هي الرمز.
So the first I would like to start with showing these statues. They were made for the Ain al-Adra in Arabic, which is the spring of Mary. And all the tourists, when they come to Nazareth, that's the first thing they go to see.
المرة كانت تيجي بالزمانات تعبي المي من الجرة وكمان مريم العذراء يعني عبت كمان هناك وبشر الملاك هناك فهي إشي أثري ومهم بالناصري فأنا عملت التمثال هذا للناصري اللي فيه رمز العين العذراء.
So I made this statue as a symbol for Nazareth that features the spring of the Virgin Mary, which is a very important site in Nazareth. In the old days, the women used to walk a long ways and fill up their clay pots in water and take them to their homes.
فأوكي من جهة المرة مع الجرة ومن جهة الثانية الأمومة يعني أنا كمان نفس الإشي كيف حكت رانيا وكيف حكت رائدة أنا كمان بهتم بموضوع المرأة هذا اللي بدي أحكيه. فهنا بدي أحكي على هذا تمثال المرة مع الجرة هو بدي أحكي عليه لقدام. طيب أوكي انتقلنا لواحد ثاني. لا قبل. أوكي طيب نبلش هون مش مشكلة. أوكي نبلش هون. نقدر نحكي بالإنجليزي يعني خلصت اللقب الأول والسوسيولوجي بجامعة حيفا سنة 2007. عملت كمان بالموزيولوجي بالجامعة وبنفس السنة أخذت كمان جائزة من بلدية حيفا. والوقت الحاضر إسا كمان بعدني عم بتعلم للقب تاني ب Art Based Research، اللي هو كمان يعني بثري أعمالي، بثريني من ناحية فنية. يعني مكتوب هو، أوكي بقدر نكمل. ف اللي بدي أحكي إنه أنا بدي أحكي على تطور أسلوبي عن طريق موضوع المرأة. لا خلينا نرجع، أوكي، عن طريق موضوع المرأة كبداية. بدي أحكي على هاي الصورة هنا، بدي أحكي عن تطور أسلوبي عن طريق موضوع المرأة.
I want to talk about the development of my style about the subject of the woman.
اوكي، حسب ما هون بنشوف البدايه تبعتي كانت اول ما بلشت اعمل هذا سنه، انا صار لي 30 سنه تقريبا بالمجال او اكثر. كبدايه كنت اعمل التماثيل الاكثر واقعيه زي تمثال الطفل، المراه.
Initially, I used to make the statues to be very realistic, like the child, the woman here.
وهون على جانب حبيت كمان احكي مع علاقتي انه البرونز مع شجر الزيتون له معاني يعني كمان.
And I wanted to make the connection between the bronze and the olive wood as well.
اوكي، فهاي الاولى كان هيك بدايه. فهون انا بدي افرجيك بهاي الصوره اللي حطها الاستاذ صالح، هي نبذه عن اعمالي من كل الفترات اللي فيها.
So this slide shows kind of a summary of my work in all the phases of it, from the beginning till the current.
اوكي، از هنا هي اعمالي موجوده بمعارض عامه وخاصه وبكثير محلات. فهي ما مكتوب يعني هون my work are displayed in numerous public, private and اوكي، يعني مكتوب هنا كيف. اوكي، next. بدنا ارجع على كيف تطور اعمالي. هون المراه اللي حاطه ايدها، يعني انا بحكي على وضعيه المراه بعده على موضوع المراه. فهي هون المراه منزله راسها، مرات تكون مبسوطه مرات تكون زعلانه. التمثال اللي على الشمال وهو هذا كان بدايه لتغيير باسلوبي اللي انا اخذت.
So the statue on the left is the start of a change in my style. Go ahead.
بلشت بالتقطيع جزء من التمثال.
I started by changing one part of the statue.
Okay, so the next. هنا من بدي احكي على انه الاسلوب تبعي صار هنا تكعيبي، يعني صار السطوح مكعبه يعني بهذا التمثال هنا.
So my style here changed from the realistic to the cubism, to the where the surfaces have changed in the statues.
كان مهم لإلي الحركة، الرقص، الموسيقى بالتماثيل.
It was very important for me to show the dancing and the music in the statues and the works that I've done.
التمثال يعني بالنسبة لي هو متحرك، يعني بعبر عن حركة.
Each one of these works really expresses motion and dynamic motion.
Next, please. This is about figures. You can see يعني هنا تحت مبين زي عيلة العصافير مرة.
So down below you see the birds almost like a family.
اوكي، هنا كيف شايفين انه التصحيح هذا اللي والتكعيب تحول لفراغ بالصورة الثانية لقدام.
Yeah. In the next photo here, in the next slide, we see that the prior style has changed again to include spaces in the works. So you could see some of the works have a lot of, inside them have spaces that.
إذا ممكن بس في الصورة اللي قبل شوي.
Yes.
إنه هنا الفراغ صار هو جزء من التمثال.
So the open space or the negative space, as some people call it, is actually part of the statue.
تدريجيا تحول الفراغ لأجزاء اللي هو the whole and all its parts. هي كمان كان قسم لمعرض لعندي، معرض فردي.
Yes. So this is part of an individual solo exhibit that I had.
انه هذا هو الاسلوب اللي كثير بيميزني واللي اخذ اهتمام كثير، انه انا بعمل التمثال من اجزاء.
Okay, I started making the statue in stages and in pieces.
والمشاهد بيقدر يحركه كيف هو بده للتمثال.
And the viewer of the work can actually reconfigure the statue and move the pieces and the parts any way they like to express what they like or what they see.
وأنا برمز كمان لوضع المرأة المقسمة، يعني بين زوجها، بين الكاريرة تبعتها، وبين عملها، وكل المواضيع اللي حكينا كأم كامرأة يعني.
And I think this the fact that the statues are made out of pieces really describes the woman's situation where she is divided among a number of parties, among her husband, her children, her work, and her other responsibilities and duties.
ومن جهة تانية المرأة بترمز لكثير أشياء، ممكن ترمز للوطن وكمان ترمز لوضعنا إحنا كمشتتين وكمقسمين بالمجتمع.
Yeah, in the same way, this also could represent our situation as Palestinians, how we are divided and scattered, yet we are all part of the same unit.
Okay, next please. Okay, yeah, this is the faces. In this يعني collection هي هون بدي أحكي على الوجوه بعدة.
In this collection, I want to talk about the faces.
الوجوه بدون تفاصيل بس هي بتعبر كثير.
And the faces, a lot of them are without detail, but they still have a lot to convey.
الصرخة، القبلة، الولولة، يعني هيك.
The scream, the kiss, the yelling, etc.
وعلى اليمين التمثال اللي فيه مراية على الوجه، يعني الواحد بيشوف حاله كمان له معنى المراية.
Yeah, and the one in the upper right corner has a mirror that allows the person to see themselves in the statue.
Okay, the next please. This is I want to show you يعني هنا التجربة تبعتي مع البورتريتين، عملت بورتريتين
This is my experiment in portraits.
Next please. Here I want to show you التمثال هنا سان شاربل. انطلب مني من الكنيسة المارونية إنه أعمل تمثال شاربل، فعملت تمثال شاربل الكبير بالحجم الطبيعي اللي هو متر 85.
So I was asked to make this statue, and I made it in the actual size, as you can see here.
اوكي، التمثال لقى يعني اهتمام كبير بالبلاد وبالعالم كمان بكثير محلات.
This is an important statue, and it has great recognition at home and abroad.
محليا وعالميا. اوكي. The next please. This is هنا عشان المرأة مع الفراغ والتماثيل يعني هنا كله مع بعضه.
Yeah, here you could see several of the works exhibited all in one place.
You can see big sculptures, and the next you can see the next. This is a small sculptures. اللي فيها كمان الكامل وفيها المجزأ كمان.
It has these series of small sculptures have both where the sculpture is totally solid and where it's broken up in pieces also.
وكثير ناس بيحبوا ياخذوها لأنها صغير وهي نقلها يعني.
One moment.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
هذا التمثال أنا نقيته عشان يكون أنا سعيدة جدا إنه هذا التمثال موجود بالمتحف الفلسطيني. هو تمثال مكون من جزئين وبعبر على أسلوبي، يعني بيميزني هذا.
This statue, these three statues, which are at the museum in Connecticut, they really express my style in a big way.
You can see التمثال اللي من الشمال هو كمان ممكن تحريكه، هو يعني قاعد على محور وبيقدر يدور كمان يعني
Yeah, the statue on the left is movable. One can move either of the two pieces and turn them around their axis to configure them any way they want.
Okay. The next is okay. Here is هنا التمثال هنا اللي عملته installation اللي سميت المعرض انعرض بأم الفحم وسميته صرخة صامتة.
Yeah, I named this exhibit the silent scream, and as you can see, this is at Al Faham Gallery.
وهنا معرض فردي ل 48 تمثال.
Yeah, there are 48 statues.
وكل تمثال منقسم كيف حكينا نفس الأسلوب.
Yeah.
بشكل كل تمثال مكون من جزئين اللي منقسم وزي نساء. ممكن ترجمة.
And each statue is made of two pieces that are separated. That they're configured together.
ورافعين ايديهم لفوق بيصيحوا يعني.
And they're raising their hands up and they are screaming. Silently, that is.
وهن يعني اللي بيعبروا بجسمهن أكثر من ما بوجههن يعني بيعبروا بجسمهن.
Yeah, their expression is really through their bodies.
نفس الانستليشن في كمان التمثال اللي من تحت اللي هو كمان سيراميك اللي مرة كمان تتوصل يعني من جهة اليمين.
Yeah, the statue in the bottom right corner is a ceramic.
ومن الشمال المصلوب اللي هو كمان برمز يعني انه من ال 48 صار في تغيير كمان المصلوب كمان هو مقسوم لقسمين شوي صغير مش مبين بس كمان هو بيصرخ يعني برمز لاشياء.
Okay.
اللي بعده اللي بهم عندي انه الجسد المشقوق هو عباره عن التهجير والوجوه هي يعني مجهوله الهويه غير واضحه هي بتصيح يعني غير واضحه مين هاي اللي بيصيح بس هو ناس يعني نساء الوجوه مجهوله الهويه يعني هنا النقطه انه.
Yeah, these faces are anonymous, and I'm going to let the viewers read the English translation in the bottom here, the description.
اوكي بحبيت احكي على التمثال في تمثال اللي هو من سيراميك ورا اذا شايفينه مبين يمكن بصوره ثانيه.
Yeah, this in the back there is a ceramic statue there I wanted to talk about. Go ahead.
هذا التمثال السيراميك انعملته سنة 2000 وقت الانتفاضة.
This was made in the year 2000 during the Intifada.
وكان وعبرت فيه على الصرخة وحطيته زي حاضر غائب.
And I used it to express the concept of present and absent.
Yeah, and وبهذا المعرض يعني قررت إنه أعمل وأنسخه ل 48 واحد.
And I made copies of this to create the 48 pieces.
تعبير على النكبة وعلى التهجير وتقسيم العائلات والتشتيت يعني.
To signify the year of the Nakba and also to signify the migration of the people and the separations of the families.
فهاي علاقتي مع المكان والزمان كيف يعني أنا بعبر عن ذاكرة اللي أنا ما كنت موجودة فيها زي بوست يعني ذاكرة.
And this is how my relation to the time and the space, and I express the memories I had during a time where I wasn't there.
And هنا هاي التمثال كمان السيراميك اللي حكيت عنه.
Yeah, this the ceramic is in the foreground on the right side.
يعني إنه بلشت بالطفل الولادي وهنا يعني كيف أنهيت فهاي تسلسل لأعمالي كمان الموضوع المرأة والتغيير اللي صار في طريقتي.
Yeah.
شكرا وإذا حدا بده تواصل مع الفيصل إذا ممكن. شكرا كثير.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was lovely and it was very educational. And I thank you all for your beautiful work and for explaining some of it to us. At this point, I'm going to turn it over to Mirvat Sawada, who has some questions for the artists, and then hopefully we'll have time to turn it over to questions from Facebook as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. Well, I'm going to ask my questions in the order in which the artist presented. So I will start with Rania. Rania, thank you for joining us. And I was deeply moved by your pictures. I mean, they're incredibly honest and incredibly intimate. I wanted to ask you, how do you go actually about identifying the subjects of your pictures, and how do you go about capturing that perfect shot?
You're muted, Rania. I'm going to unmute you.
Thank you for that. I mean, I have a lot of different bodies of work, so I kind of just showed a little bit through Samira. So here she's somebody I met and photographed over the years, but all my work has been a lot about women and girls everywhere. And I have to say, I find them everywhere. I stop women on the street. I mean, there's a way where I could ask them if they'd like to be part of the project, and I would send them an email describing what I'm doing. And then I would say most of them say yes, and the process becomes very collaborative. So I want all the work to feel very like empowering for the women I photograph. And I got to work well with them. So I don't take a shot. I spend an hour and a half to 2 hours with people working with them, and the photo session always evolves. So it does become more intimate, and then the people I'm photographing eventually completely get into it, and we build that very again collaborative, intimate relationship. And then I spend a lot of time editing my work, so I have to pick the best image that for me reflects the moment we shared. For the people through the window, it's been very different because it's the first time where you can't just approach people on the streets because everybody's isolated. So it was my first time actually using social media for that. And again, I was overwhelmed with the reply I got. So I think the key is always photographing the women or the people I photograph with such respect, and I want them to enjoy the process, because eventually they also introduce me to their friends, so the circle keeps growing. You're muted.
How do you define the perfect shot as a photographer?
Well, this happens a lot. This happens a lot in my editing after, and I don't call it a shot. I look at I look at a lot of images, and then okay, sorry, there's somebody walking behind me. Sorry. Okay. I look at
more authentic. That's fine.
You didn't know you could see him. I look at a lot of images that I made, and then eventually there's always a few that stand out to me, and it could be the expression in the hand and the look, or the moment that I remembered, and I start narrowing it down. Editing is the hardest part of the whole process, I guess, because at the end I do have to pick the best image, and often it means putting it all away for a little bit of time and looking at it with fresh eyes again, and all of a sudden something speaks to me in one over another. It's hard. You're muted again.
Yes, of course. Okay, thank you.
Let me give you an easy hint. If you're muted, if you touch the space bar, you'll get unmuted as long as you're touching the space bar. That might help.
That's helpful. Next question to Raida. Raida, first of all, I really like the idea about the gallery and giving a platform for Jordanian artists. And I was wondering, women is clearly a theme, a central theme in your art. Can you tell us a little more about the art scene in Jordan, especially vis-a-vis women artists?
Yeah. Yes. Actually, it is amazing how how developed the art scene is becoming in Jordan. I mean, in the past 10 years, we have witnessed a lot of amazing artists coming up, being supported by, I mean, the whole system supports you in Jordan. We have a lot of galleries that appreciate and value good work. And we have people who now look at the art in a different eye, and for the fact that art is a means of empowerment to women, we have more and more women coming up every day.
Okay, and you also lived in Africa.
Actually, I consider myself very lucky to have lived in Africa for 25 years of my life, and I've been rotating between Jordan and Africa and the United States at some point. And I think my life in Africa, in Nigeria precisely, was so much influenced by the people, the kindness of the people. They're so artistic. I mean, the colors you see in the streets, in their clothes, in their villages, and they do appreciate art a lot. And yeah.
And as far as women artists, have you seen any common themes or that emerged during your experience in Africa and in Jordan as a Palestinian?
Actually, yeah, I think we need to learn a little bit, I mean, take more time to learn a little bit about each other in different countries and different continents, because the art scene in Nigeria is one of the very, very good, I mean, very, very advanced ones in Africa. And there's a lot of both males and female artists, and their work is tremendous. It's amazing.
Thank you. So my next question to Sana. Sana, do you want me to ask it in both English and Arabic, Faisal?
Yeah.
Yes.
أول شيء شكرا كثير، يعني شغلك الحقيقة مش عارفة حتى شو الكلمة بالضبط اللي بالعربي، بس يعني في جمال raw، يعني جمال it has such an intensity. Your work is so intense, it's so beautiful. أسألك يا إنه ممكن تحكي لنا، سمعتيني؟ ممكن تخبرينا عن طريقة الفني البروسيس أو اللي بتمشي فيها الفنية، كيف أو الحالة الفنية بالنسبة إلك من وقت ما بتبلشي من فكرة لحتى تنفذيها. يعني بتبلشي مثلا ترسميها على ورقة وبعدين بتنفذيها، كيف هذا كيف هاي بتصير عندك الحالة الفنية؟ وخليني بس أترجمها للإنجليزي. So the question is, how do you, what is your artistic, or walk us through your artistic process? How do you go from the idea to the execution of the idea? Do you start by drawing it on a piece of paper, and then, or is it just more of a natural sort of process that it happens as you go?
اوكي، انا بحكي انه يعني كل إشي عم بيصير حوالي بأثر علي. الفنان يعني ايش بيصير حتى لو بسمع بالتلفزيون بمحطات فضائية، ايش بيصير بأثر عليه، بدخله بحالة نفسية معينة اللي بيطلعها بالفن.
Everything that happens around me affects me. Anything I see on TV, anything I hear, all that affects me and affects my work.
فالعلاج تبعي او المحل اللي بحبه هو بمسك الطين وبعبر عن اللي انا بحسه او اللي انا بدي احكيه، اللي بقدرش احكيه مرات بعبره بطريقة بالطين يعني.
What I like to be is with clay in my hands, and anything that I can't express talking, or I'm not comfortable talking, I express with my hands.
مرات برسمه مرات دغري بحس انه يعني زي بنفس اللحظة لما بحس الاشي دغري لازم اطلعه.
Sometimes whenever I have a feeling, I have to get down and actually get it out of me and put it down and work on it.
وهيك بيطلع العمل الحقيقي نابع من القلب يعني من الداخل. مهم.
And that's my work comes out of the heart, out of my inside.
بس باللي بيصير بالطين انه دائما لازم ارجع له، يعني لما بعمله انا بالتمثال بالطين بخلصش من يوم واحد، بغطيه بنايلون وبعود برجع ثاني يوم بطلع عليه وبكمل عليه يعني وبشوفه كمان مرة. فهو
Yeah, when I make something with clay, it doesn't get all done in one day. I cover it with plastic and I come back the next day to look at it and work on it some more.
فهو زي حالي اللي لازم يتكمل للآخر لحديث ما أشوفها انتهت وساعتها بتركها.
And I have to continue working on it until I'm happy with it at the end.
ولحديث ما التمثال يحكي إيش أنا بدي.
And until the statue is actually saying exactly what I wanted to say.
طيب بالنسبة للمواد اللي بتستعمليها في هاي المنحوتات تاعتك، في بتختاري برضو المادة هذا إشي بتختاريه من الأول ولا شيء بيعتمد على الموضوع اللي بدك أو
أنا
بدك تنحتيه. So the question is, in terms of the medium you use in your sculptures, how do you go about choosing the medium?
أكتر شيء بلاقيه بيعبر عني، يعني أنا كنت بالأول أرسم بس اليوم يعني بعمل بالطين وبنحت كمان. الطين بلاقيه كثير بيعبر.
Originally I used to draw and paint, but now I sculpt and I work with the clay.
لأنه التمثال بعبر من عدة يعني من عدة محلات، يعني أكثر من الرسم بالنسبة لإلي.
Now the statue provides a lot of expression, more expression than I can get through a painting or a drawing.
فبعمله بالطين وهاي أول مرحلة، يعني أنا بعمله أول إشي بالطين.
The first phase is I make it from clay.
Clay. And after that يعني أنا عندي كمان زي ورشة اللي بشتغل فيها بنعمل له قالب وبنصب بمراحل لا يوصل للبرونز.
And I have a workshop where I turned the clay into a form and I ended up eventually with the bronze.
يعني from clay to wax يعني كمان يعني هو بمرق من الطين للشمع للبرونز.
So there are three phases really: the clay, the wax, and the bronze.
هاي باختصار يعني لأنه طريق طويل أشرح.
Summary. It's a long process, but I'm just summarizing it.
وبحب بس أضيف إنه يعني الإشي الحلو إنه الطين هو طري وبتقدر تعبر فيه والبرونز هو قاسي، فهذا التناقض بعطي هيك للتمثال قوة وإشي معين يعني بحبه كثير.
Just wanted to add that the clay is very soft and it's easy to work with, and the bronze is very hard, and that dichotomy kind of provides the statue, the final product, with a certain strength and certain meaning.
Yeah, that definitely there's a lot of strength in your work. Faisal, do we have time for one more question?
Yes, I think because we were late getting started, we're going to take a few more minutes. Rania has to leave.
I have to leave in like 4 minutes, 5 minutes. So if you have a question, answer me. I'm so sorry.
Okay.
Thank you, Rania.
So I have a very full house to feed here.
We can relate.
Okay.
Going back to sculptures by Sana, you know, topic. I actually have a question. If you want to address it, it's for the three of you on your plans. What are your plans? Are you working on any specific projects right now?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll answer if you don't mind, because hold on. Yeah, I'll answer because I have to go. Sorry. Well, I got into this window project that for now is keeping me busy. I have to say, I had many exhibitions planned now, and I was teaching, and it's interesting how this whole situation put us all on 100% on hold, and it makes you reevaluate everything and adjust everything accordingly, which actually is not a bad thing. And you realize that there's a room for creativity to emerge in a different way. Because you were asking me, how do you pick the best picture? I work a lot and I photograph a lot. And about 2 years ago, I got a Guggenheim Fellowship. So I was out and photographing, and being in the studio forced me to spend time with my work. And like Sana was saying, to look at everything and reevaluate where I am with everything. And this is a very important part of the process. So I think I want to turn everything I've been working on into a book. The last project, but I also am excited to be out and reconnecting with people and started a new project that emerged out of this. So it's a little bit also like what Sana was saying, it's what you're living every day, all the time, makes you create something different or be somewhere different with your work. But again, what I learned is that taking the time to slow down and just be in the studio and kind of block everything else a little bit, even though I do have a full house, so there's so much I could block, is very important. So anyway, but please, first I want to say Faisal and all the artists and all of you, I mean, thank you to Mirvat, to Nancy, Raida, and Sana. It was an honor to be here with you, and Faisal, to meet you, to have a chance to visit the museum. I'm in awe of what you're doing for Palestinian culture, so it's been fantastic.
Well, thank you so much. And, thank you for taking the time and being with us today.
Thank you so much. Okay.
Yeah, we have time for a couple more questions.
I want to answer about this question because it's important for me. You ask if أنا بمرحلة اللي عم بتعلم للقب ثاني قررت إنه أغير المواد والمواضيع والأسلوب.
I'm at a stage where I would like to change the material, the style and the subjects of my work.
خلال تعليمي ووصلت يعني لتجارب كثير جديدة وكثير غنية لإلي.
And through my education, and I've gained some experiences that are very rich and rewarding.
وبحب أحكي على آخر تجربة اللي أنا إسا عم بعمل في هذا الموضوع.
And I'd like to talk about the last experiment that I'm working in this subject.
وعلى بيت خالتي اللي تهجر بحيفا اللي قريب علي واكتشفته أنا جديد وين هذا البيت.
And my aunt's house in Haifa that was taken away from them in 48, which is I discovered that it's near where we live now.
Yeah. And I'm doing installation, and I want to thank everybody. I don't want يعني بديش أحكي إسا إيش أنا عم بعمل، بس إن شاء الله بيطلع إشي. وبدي أشكرك كثير وأشكر كل الفنانات اللي شاركوا لميرفات وللجميع، وإن شاء الله اللي بتعملوا إشي كبير. وأنت عطيت you want to translate?
Yeah, and I would like to thank everybody on the program here, the artists and the team of the museum. Go ahead.
وأعطيت دور للمرأة كثير مهم، لأنه المرأة كانت مهمشة بالفنون يعني، بس آخر فترة المرأة عم تطلع. أنا لما بلشت أتعلم كنت الوحيدة، اليوم صار في كثير وصار في محل للنسوان إنه تعرض يعني.
Yeah, and I very much appreciate giving women an important view, and women who have historically been marginalized, and women artists now are gaining their place under the sun, and we appreciate all that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sana.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sana. ممكن نسمع, can we hear also from Raida? Same question.
Unmute, Raida.
Okay. Yeah, I have plans on the personal level and other plans with our gallery Jodar. Well, with what's going on around the world, I don't know where and when we can resume our plans, because we had a list of exhibitions coming up in May, in July, and in November. On the personal level, I am working on a solo exhibition, and I won't say much about it, but I'm focusing mainly on the Tob al-Palestini, which I believe the Tob deserves to be highlighted on more and more. Again, let me go back to the gallery. We have an annual exhibition every year. We promise to do it. It's for the emerging artists, which should be coming up in November. I pray that the world will be in a better place in November, and life can go back to normal. And what I will just say is that art is a continuous learning process. We learn something new every day, and we discover something new every day. And just want to thank you all. Thank you all.
Thank you. Mervat, any more questions?
I think this is a general question we always get from participants. If people are interested in buying some of this art, or how can they go about this?
Please contact us at the museum. You can go to the museum website and send a message, or send an email to info@palestinemuseum.us. And then we'll be happy to help you. We have a few hundred pieces of art at the museum that's available for sale, much of it at very attractive prices.
Thank you.
Okay, I think looks like we're at the end of the program. I'd like to thank our audience who attended, and sorry for some of the technical difficulties as we kind of work our way through this new way of communicating and operating the museum. I have two announcements. This program will be presented again with new artists next Sunday, which I believe is the 26th of April at noontime in the US, 7 time in Palestine. And on April 24th, that is the beginning of the start of Palestine Art Week, which is a global virtual event that the museum has pioneered last year. And this is the second annual Palestine Art Week. During the week, we're asking everybody to post about artwork that they like, about their own artwork or other people's artwork, and create a major Palestinian art storm on the social media and Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And all the posts should be with hashtag Palestine Art Week. On Friday, the 24th of April, which is the first day of that week, we have a program online also like this at noontime that will feature a few artistic personalities, including Samia Halabi from the US and Ghassan Abu Laban from Amman, and possibly Nora Rikat as well. And that program will kick off Palestine Art Week, and we will have a great discussion during that program as well. So please try to join us for those two online events, and thank you so much.